Greetings everyone, and welcome to what is an audio special version of Banners on the Wall. This is the series here in season 23-24, where with the Basingstoke Bison not playing, we can't do running with the herd, so I'm going on my big trip around and trying to see a bunch of different games from a bunch of different places. We've done these all as write-ups so far, but this one, I just wanted to kind of talk it out instead and do it as an audio piece. I've done a lot of writing recently and I was struggling to just get the words down, so I figured if I talk the words out, it might be a bit easier. But either way, this game comes from this past Sunday, the 8th of October, the NIHL South 2 matchup between the Guildford Phoenix and the Basingstoke Buffalo. Final score, Guildford Phoenix 7, Basingstoke Buffalo 3. Goals for the Phoenix, 2 coming from Sol Studley, 1 from Fraser Studley, as well as goals for Jared Vigar, Monty Gaylor, and Josh Sherrington. Goals for the Basingstoke Buffalo, 2 from Hallam Wilson and 1 from Paul Petts. This was an interesting experience, and I'd said for a while that I wanted to see the Guildford Phoenix with my own eyes. For people who followed the What's Current stream, where we cover all the games across the NIHL, South 2 has been a division that is a real melting pot of different teams and different styles. Because you've got teams that are very much kind of towards the amateur end of the level and teams that are operating on a more slightly professional basis. The Phoenix are one of those teams. The Grand Slam winners in 21-22, they lost out on the league title last year by a point against Bristol. And there's a few who are bubbling around that top end. Haringey, Bristol, Guildford, arguably teams like Peterborough and the Invicta Mustangs, for whom this is a pretty decent way to get in some really, really good hockey. Back at the Guildford Spectrum for the second time in 5 days, but standing on completely the opposite side of the rink to where I'd been the previous Wednesday night, I wasn't 100% sure exactly what to expect. Now, the one thing I should say, and the Phoenix have done this brilliantly, concession tickets include blue light ticket holders. So having a blue light card, like myself, meant I got in with a little couple of quid off, and also they do something on blue light tickets, so you can, if you go into the draw, get tickets for free, which is really, really awesome. The junior game beforehand ran quite late, so people weren't actually let into the rink until just before face-off was meant to happen. They did a very quick ice cut, and the problem with the juniors overrunning was that this match got truncated. At one point, they tried to have a 3-minute break between periods. That's actually not allowed. You have to have a minimum of at least 5. And so this game did end up with periods of people being very, very tired. But we ended up with the game having to sort of be rushed because of the ice disco that was happening at 8:45. The one thing I should say to the Spectrum staff is, if two teams where fans have paid to go and watch hockey are skating around at the end thanking the people who have paid to watch them play hockey, maybe don't be quite so rude in terms of trying to encourage them off the ice. Whilst they are entirely amateur, at best semi-pro, be a tiny bit more respectful, I think, would probably be my response there, in terms of a bunch of guys who've worked really, really hard and then shouting at them to get off the ice like they're a bunch of school children. Didn't sit well with me, so I am going to mention that. Either way, this game started off with an absolute bang, and I immediately saw why the Guildford Phoenix are so good. And it was a relentless rolling of lines and just absolutely shock and awe tactics. And before you could basically blink, Phoenix are 3-0 to the good. I mean, they scored 2 goals pretty much inside 3 minutes. Sol Studley with the first one, and Vigar with the second. And basically, even though Dan Weller-Evans, who, being my friend, is probably one of the better netminders in this division, but the defence were just all at sea. They didn't know how to deal with the speed. They didn't know how to deal with the intensity. And then by just before the 10-minute mark, Fraser Studley scores the third goal. Unfortunately for Dan, he made the save on that one, hit him in the shoulder, then bounced off his own defenseman and in. But it's 3-0 after 10 minutes, and you're basically thinking, we're about to watch a blowout here. And the Phoenix immediately you can see why the Phoenix have done so well at this level, because it's not just depth, it's not just bodies, but it's quality in that depth as well. Rolling lines, but every line was able to kind of be effective in that early stage, and then it all started to just not work quite as well. The Basingstoke Buffalo deserve credit. Retooled a bit this year and being able to call on national division quality players. Hallam Wilson, Paul Petts, like I said, Dan Weller-Evans in goal, Carl Graham appearing in this game as well. I know he's playing a few games for the Buffalo this year in and around sort of childcare duties that he's got. But when you're able to add 4 guys like that into a roster, it is a massive, massive deal. But it isn't just about those guys who've come down from the national division as well. It's guys like Sam Compton, who was able to make quite a big contribution from defence. Scott Ander playing on the top line with Petts and Wilson, causing a bit of nuisance, getting in people's way. Harry Tempest is always very fun to watch. Xander Robinson picked up man of the match for the Buffalo. And there's a lot of promising stuff in there for the Buffalo. But the problem is that they can't spot one of the best teams in the division, one of the favourites for the title. They can't spot them a 3-goal lead. It was 4-2 by the end of the first period, it should be said. It was Hallam Wilson got the Buffalo on the board with a pretty decent goal. Paul Petts then got the second sort of decent sort of setup play in front, but it was 4-2 at the end of the first. Studley the F managing to get a apologies. This one went to Gaylor. It was changed from Studley. This was Monty Gaylor's goal. Studley was in front, and I think there was some suspicion that he might have tipped it, but it appears that the shot from the blue line just went through. But yes, 4-2 at the end of the first period. We will have a 3-minute break that became a 5-minute break because it had to be. And then from there, the second period was just a bit strange, and I think it possibly just because everybody was so wretchedly tired off the back of it. But the Phoenix just looked like they were thinking too hard. But they were also starting to lose some of the key battles. They were losing the puck on the boards. They were losing out on the physical battle. They had absolutely zero answer, their forwards, for Carl Graham and his level of not just physicality, but just usage of how he used his body to separate man from puck, to be able to get the puck away from a dangerous place, which was really interesting to see. South 2 is, of course, much slower in terms of its pace than the National Division, but being able to see some of those plays happen at that little bit of a slower speed is actually really interesting to watch, because all those things you kind of take for granted at high speed, you can now watch at a little bit slower pace, and you can see some of the intricacies of how they do it, and just watching how Graham was able to kind of neutralize some of that forward play from the Phoenix is really interesting. But the second, by the time it hit the sort of 32 minute mark, everyone is knackered because they've been skating pretty hard in what was a game that was played with a decent amount of intensity, and they had, like I say, the better part of a 5-minute break, and that was pretty much it. In the third, the Buffalo get within one. Hallam Wilson again. The Buffalo realised that they were probably going to get more joy rather than trying to pass around a Phoenix side that was using the big ice in Guildford very well. The best thing to do was to just go towards the net and try and cause a bit of a nuisance, and that would probably see them right. And it did on that particular one. Wilson managing to kind of, like I say, just bundle the puck over the line, bit of pushing and shoving afterwards, as sort of generally happens, but the Buffalo were on the cusp of being back in this game, and then 10 minutes to go, Sol Studley again. It has to be said, this fifth goal for the Phoenix, which is the one that just pushes the game just out of the range of the Buffalo, it was offside. And it was offside by quite a visible distance. Was the frustrating thing on that. The advantageous thing here is that it probably doesn't detract from the overall result. Guildford then go on to score a sixth, which was just a superb shot by Jared Figal that beats Dan Weller-Evans just by the ear, and then a goal very, very late on from Josh Sherrington hits. Weller-Evans makes the save. The puck just kind of, unfortunately, just drops at the post, and Sherrington, former interviewee, of course, on Hockey Stories, is there to just kind of tap it in. But that fifth goal being offside was a bit of a hammer blow. But ultimately, overall, the Phoenix deserved the win here. And it was really, really good to be able to kind of see just how good at this level they are. They were guilty of a bunch of errors, which is the sort of stuff that you would expect to see in a Div 2 game, which, like I say, they overthought and telegraphed so much stuff, couldn't connect very crisply on some of the passing. And like I say, they just started losing some of the things that really good teams will win. Like I say, they were losing those ball battles. They were losing the physical game for a bit. And actually, when they stuck to their game plan, they were so much more effective. The Buffalo didn't have an answer when they were able to kind of get passes strung together, stretching the D a little bit. The Buffalo had the right idea, which was let Weller-Evans see the shot, because when he saw the shot, he pretty much stopped the shot. But for the most part, if they managed to cause a bit of drama, get some traffic in front of Weller-Evans, then it just all kind of went to pot from there. There are some positives, though, I think, for the Buffalo to take from this. They're obviously They came from behind against Bristol, but just fell short. They have, come from behind here around Guildford very close before eventually getting sort of pushed away. But there's something in this team, and there's an effort and an energy. I think the thing that the Buffalo need to do is to just try and establish more of what their game plan is, and then stick to it. It just felt a little bit like the top line with Wilson and Petts has got, they know what they're doing, and I think the lines below just kind of need to establish a little bit more what it is they're trying to do, and then try and do it. If they keep stuff simple, teams are going to underestimate the Buffalo, and they are going to get beaten by the Buffalo, and beaten quite handily. But against some of these top end sides in Div 2, they are going to struggle probably a little bit, especially if they just haven't quite got the nuts and bolts of everything they're trying to do down. But really impressed. The other thing I should say as well, 6:30 face-off on a Sunday for a game in the 4th Division of British hockey. There was a fair few people in the building for this. A few people had obviously travelled from Basingstoke, and sort of families and bits and pieces like that. But a fair few people packing that sort of eastern seating section in the balcony at Guildford. I was not expecting there to be, there must have been in the region of 150 to 200 people for this. And you know what? It was a good laugh. £7 for adults on a regular thing, £3.50 for myself with my blue light card. And you know what? I got a decently. It was not the greatest game of hockey ever played, but it was entertaining. It was fun. It had a little bit of everything, and yeah, had a bit of high drama, had a bit of skill, had some good goals, had some good saves. It's what you want out of a hockey game. I'm really pleased to have the opportunity to be able to go and see something like this. The Phoenix are going to be a problem in this division if they find that way to just kind of tighten up in the middle, and also probably not have to have a 5-minute period break, sorry. But they're, two teams there that I've got a lot going for them. I think there's more pressure on the Phoenix in terms of what they could potentially be come the end of the year. But I think the Buffalo are starting to grow into themselves a bit. It wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I think Paul Petts and Hallam Wilson can be really, really pleased and can be proud of what they've managed to do so far. Not the finished product by any stretch of the imagination, but signs of hope and signs of things to come. And I think, like I said, I've had the opportunity now to see the Buffalo at home during pre-season against Coventry. I've now had the opportunity to see them away against one of the top sides in the division they play in, and I'm thoroughly impressed. They gave a really good account of themselves. Guildford look excellent. Like I say, I think for them the trick is they just need to kind of just relax a bit more. Don't think too hard. A lot of working hard and not working very smart at times. If they find a way to work smart, they're going to do the title will not be without of the reach of the Guildford Phoenix by any stretch of the imagination. Anyway, thank you very much for checking us out for that one. This video is on YouTube, of course. Subscribe to the Balance on the Wall YouTube channel. What's current stream Wednesday nights 8 o'clock over there to cover everything from across the NHL structure. Bannersonthewall.wordpress.com, of course, your number one source for all things NIHL. Buymeacoffee.com/BOTW. If you enjoy what you do, consider that our virtual busking hat. Make sure to, if you can, don't feel obligated, but if you do want to chuck a few pennies in there, it would be massively appreciated to help with the cost of some stuff we've got going on. Either way, back, like I say, Wednesday night, What's Current stream. Next, this coming weekend, I will be back on comms for the Bees. They take on Solway. So me and Joe Scutts will ride again from the Slough Ice Arena for that one. Should be a lot of fun. And you can hopefully enjoy the bits and pieces coming out of BOTW. So as ever, for bannersonthewall.wordpress.com, it's Anthony Russell saying stay safe. And so long till next time, here for Banners on the Road.